If you truly want to become stronger, you need to learn to let go. Ancient wisdom warmly greets everyone. How important is the face of the poor? A wealthy man wanted to test human nature and asked a young man, "If you bow to me once, I'll give you 10 million. The more you bow, the more I'll pay. Will you do it?" The condition was to bow in front of all his friends, family, and parents. The young man thought for a moment and agreed. When everyone gathered, he began to bow. After the first bow, his parents scolded him. "How can you lose your self-respect for money?" His friends said, "How can you face everyone after this?" By the 10th bow, his parents were so angry they trembled, declaring they would cut ties. His friends felt humiliated, saying they would no longer know him. When he bowed for the 100th time, his parents fell silent. They looked at him and thought, 10 billion is a lifetime's worth of money, but how can you lose face for money? His friends also fell silent, unsure what to think. By the 500th bow, his parents handed him a glass of water, telling him to rest and continue. His friends changed their attitude, saying, "We're still friends. If you need anything, just ask." By the 1000th bow, his parents looked at him with pride. "Our son now has 10 billion. His friends became lively, pulling him aside and saying, "Take a break. You have so much money now, give us a chance to bow for you." Some even ran to the wealthy man, asking to bow for money. But throughout the process, from the first bow to the 1000th, the young man's expression never changed. He bowed clearly, decisively, and his back remained straight. If you had the chance, would you bow? Ren Zhengfei once said, "Save face for the dogs to eat." Bill Gates said, "Self-respect that doesn't yield results isn't worth a penny." Huang Bo said, "When you succeed, the whole world will treat you kindly." In this world, capable people often don't care about face, while those without ability cling to it. Those who value face too much often don't truly have it. Conversely, those who don't care about face often earn respect. Face is the cheapest thing in the world. When you learn to let go of face, you'll live better. People often say, "Die for face, live to suffer." Have you seen people like this? Clearly, they don't have enough money but still borrow to buy the latest phone just to save face. Clearly, they lack the ability but still agree to help others for fear of being looked down upon. They try to maintain a perfect exterior, tormenting themselves just to save face in front of others. But in the adult world, face doesn't equate to self-respect. You can't be better than others just by having a bit more face. On the contrary, when you start letting go of face and learn humility, you can live authentically. If you're currently confused, anxious, overthinking but underacting, listen to this true story. The story of the first white tiger brought to America. This was a rare white tiger, gifted to the government by a wealthy American. It lived in a small cage at the Washington Zoo, only 12 by 12 meters. Every day, the tiger just walked back and forth in that cage. Imagine, a white tiger, the king of beasts, confined to such a small space. Eventually, the zoo decided to build a larger area for the tiger to climb and run. But when moved to the new area, it didn't explore. Instead, it created an invisible 12 by 12 meter cage and continued walking back and forth until it died. This tiger's story reflects many of us. We create invisible cages, limiting our own lives. Parents, teachers, society, each places cages of expectations and standards on us. But remember, your instinct is that of a mighty white tiger. You were born to be a champion, but you've locked yourself in cages imposed by others. Life offers countless opportunities, knowledge, and paths to explore, not just making money. Your greatest enemy is yourself. Don't doubt your abilities or limit your path. Parents never mean to harm you, but sometimes they can slow your progress. In truth, everyone has two lives. One life given by parents, and one created by yourself. Some start their second life at 18, others at 30, but some never live authentically. Especially for those from poor families, to change fate, you must first distance yourself from your parents. Because poverty isn't just circumstances but a mindset and living environment. If you don't break free, you'll repeat your parents' path. When you're grown, separating financially, mentally, and physically from your parents is the first step to rebirth. Leave home, become independent to grow. If you still live at home, eat your parents' cooking, sleep in their prepared bed, and seek their approval for every decision, you're letting your life pass without taking responsibility. Don't let everything depend on your parents. Many parents consider themselves successful, like to decide for their children, and often give inappropriate advice. Unknowingly, they harm their children while thinking they're helping. So after growing up, it's best not to live with your parents. Visit often, but don't stay long. Second, don't expect financial help from your parents. True independence starts when you no longer need to ask for living expenses. When parents try to use authority to control you, you'll have the confidence to argue because they can no longer control you financially. Then, parents will gradually let go, and you'll truly have the life you want. Third, mental separation. If your parents worked in a factory for decades, they can only teach you factory work. If they farmed all their lives, they can only pass on farming knowledge. But if you don't want to farm or work in a factory, you need to decide your own life. Many parents with limited abilities love to use their thinking to teach their children. If you keep following their old ways, you'll walk the same wrong path. Don't always talk about filial piety. Filial piety isn't letting parents control your life. Filial piety is living well, earning enough to care for them. When making decisions, don't always listen to your parents. Be selective. Follow your own decisions, even if wrong, at least you've tried. As long as you control the risks, you'll learn and avoid repeating mistakes. Though it sounds harsh, separating from parents doesn't mean cutting ties but breaking free from their mental and ideological control. Only then can you clearly see their limitations and live your own life. In truth, life has no truly right choices. We just work hard to make our initial choices right. In life, we must make many irreversible choices. So how to find the best answer? Socrates' wheat theory offers an answer. Socrates once took 3 students to a wheat field and asked them to choose the largest stalk, with the condition they could only move forward, not look back, and only choose once. The first student hurriedly picked the first large stalk he saw. But after a few steps, he found larger stalks behind and regretted. Socrates asked how he felt. He replied, "Acted too soon, the result wasn't good." The second student, learning from the first, thought better stalks were ahead and hesitated. As a result, he missed many large stalks and found nothing better by the end. When asked, he said, "Acted too late, the result was terrible." The third student was smarter. He brought a ruler, divided the field into 3 parts. In the first part, he noted the largest stalk as a standard but didn't pick it. In the second part, he compared each stalk to the standard. If he found a larger one, he picked it and brought it to Socrates, saying, "Teacher, I've chosen the best stalk." Socrates asked how he felt, and he replied, "Having a standard leads to victory." This method has a flaw. If you find the best stalk early, you won't find better ones. So if your first love is the best, it could be happiness or tragedy. If you stay together forever, it's happiness. If not, it's tragedy because you'll never find better. After making a decision, remember, never idealize the path you didn't choose. Living in the past will make you miss the present. A man being chased by villains ran to a large river, but the current was too strong to swim, and there was no bridge or boat. He hid temporarily. The villains couldn't find him, but this wasn't a long-term solution. He decided to make a bamboo raft to cross the river. He worked day and night, cutting bamboo and tying it with bark. Finally, he crossed the river safely. When the villains discovered him, he was already on the other side. He thought, without the raft, I might have died. The raft was crucial to him. So he carried it on his back and continued his journey. But the raft was heavy, making travel extremely difficult. He could only move a short distance each day. 3 days later, the villains caught up and captured him. It turned out they also made rafts to chase him. Because he carried the raft, he moved too slowly and couldn't escape. When caught, he lamented, "The raft saved me, but it also doomed me." Life is 2 states, holding on and letting go. We need to learn not to be bound by the past or anxious about the future. Knowing when to let go frees up energy to pursue new things. Life is like ocean waves, one after another. If you're weighed down by the past, your life is like a stagnant pond. Look at happy people, they live fully in the present. Long ago, a scholar went to the capital for an exam but was sabotaged and failed. His lover also left him. The scholar became depressed, drinking daily to drown his sorrows. One day, he met a monk and asked how to find relief. The monk didn't say much, just told him to follow him for 3 days. For 3 days, the monk only gave him water, no food. During the day, he chopped wood and fed horses. At night, he slept in the stable. After 3 days, the scholar cried, regretting tormenting himself. The monk said, "Your past was like this, punishing yourself for others' mistakes, bringing suffering upon yourself. What's done is done, don't waste energy dwelling on it. Instead of suffering, let go earlier, learn to release, and reconcile with the past for true liberation." Those who dare to let go of the past will be gifted a new beginning. Someone asked a master, "If I really like someone but know it won't work out, should I enjoy the process or stop in time?" The master replied, "What's the result? Marriage? Marriage can end in divorce. Being together for life? Someone will leave first. Between people, there's no clear result. So it's fine, having loved is the result." The person asked, "But if we break up, won't it be sad?" The master said, "Who reads a book just for the last page? Even if the ending isn't as expected, remember the beautiful moments, however few. Why miss the present for an uncertain future? Just cherish the relationship. When you can't hold on anymore, let go." Sometimes you have to let go of some people, not because you don't care, but because they don't care. Understand that for relationships that can't return to how they were, cutting ties completely is the only way to find happiness. We all know stubbornness without results is meaningless, but we don't want to let go, telling ourselves we can't. In truth, you're idealizing what you can't have. The more you can't have, the more you desire, trapping yourself in an endless cycle. This is the Zeigarnik effect in psychology. The stubbornness is because the other person left first. The essence of not letting go is unwillingness, your helplessness. The best way to let go of someone is to honestly tell yourself, "I've tried my best, haven't been ambiguous with others, haven't crossed boundaries. I've been proactive when needed, humble when needed. I've been very brave. The one who should regret isn't me. I used all my courage and sincerity to come to you, but you weighed gains and losses. Only by completely cutting ties can you find joy." True letting go is when you continue living your life, eating, sleeping, playing games, occasionally seeing their image, but no longer feeling intense emotions, just like an old lover who once loved wholeheartedly. Relationships don't need to be overly concerned with right or wrong. Even if the other person changes, let it all pass, let them leave, don't cling. Those who can leave don't love you as much as you think. So we don't need to keep longing. Sometimes, the person you like doesn't like you. If so, generously let go. Meeting is fate, be grateful for the encounter, don't blame, don't owe. Someone asked, "Are you happy now?" I gradually understand why, as an adult, I often feel unhappy. It's because at any moment, I expect a result. I expect my kindness to be appreciated. I expect every message I send to be replied to. I hope sharing my feelings will receive care and comfort. If these expectations are met, I feel satisfied. If not, I blame myself. But as children, we could spend all day watching fireworks or ants moving without expecting any result. So don't place too many expectations on others or the future. It only adds to your troubles. Perhaps when you let go of meaningless expectations, you'll find ordinary life is full of beauty. The more you care about something, the more it torments you. Expectations are the root of suffering. Lower your expectations and know when to stop. Perhaps when you expect nothing, everything will come naturally. Don't ask what the result is. You'll feel lighter. What's at the end of the road? What's beyond the mountain? It doesn't matter anymore. Go with the flow. What's yours will be yours. What's not yours can't be forced. Live according to your age. When the time is right, you'll know what you need. Don't worry about others' opinions. Just maintain your moral boundaries, and you'll live more lightly. I once saw a piece of advice: don't go to the supermarket when hungry. Don't seek friends when lonely. Because then, you'll buy unnecessary things and form shallow relationships. Others don't act for you, as everyone acts in their own interest. Thus, placing expectations on others will eventually disappoint you. Stop over-expecting. Handle your own affairs, and you'll find peace. In relationships, we need to focus on ourselves rather than place expectations on others. If you rely on others for happiness, when they can't meet your expectations, you'll feel pain. Your emotions shouldn't depend on others. This applies to friends, lovers, or family. So, place expectations on yourself. A truly mature person won't have overly high expectations of life. Lowering expectations doesn't mean having no standards but viewing things more rationally. Life is inherently imperfect. Holding high expectations only traps you in disappointment. Life today is increasingly hectic. Are you worried about the future? Once, a Zen master met a strange man on the road. During work hours, the man strolled leisurely, his spirits low. The master asked, "It's work time, why aren't you working?" The man replied, "I don't work because if I do, I'll eventually lose my job." The master, surprised, asked, "Are you married?" The man said, "I'm not married, no girlfriend. If I fall in love, marry, we'll eventually break up. Many people divorce, I don't want to be like them." The master asked, "Do you like money?" The man said, "I like money, but earning it requires effort. Money earned is spent faster than earned. I don't want to compete, isn't that better?" If you always maintain a negative attitude, fearing loss without trying, you'll never know what you truly want. All fears stem from worrying too much about the future while neglecting the present. When facing a new situation, our brains immediately imagine the worst-case scenario. In just 10 minutes, you've written a long drama about unhappy events, turning yourself from happy to depressed, confusing those around you. When such reactions occur, don't deny them or think something's wrong with you. You're fine. But learn to manage those thoughts. Psychologists once conducted an experiment. They asked participants to write down their worries for the next 7 days and put them in a box. A week later, they opened the box and checked. The results showed 90% of the worries didn't come true. So, whenever you worry about the future, tell yourself, if it happens, we'll deal with it then. Gradually, you'll find anxiety greatly reduced. Thoughts create problems, actions bring answers. Live in the present. Don't let the unoccurred exhaust you, missing the precious moments of now. Because once lost, we can never get them back.